Good morning, good morning. So you guys are the dedicated ones. You know, I was in the lobby last night of the Fairmont Hotel, and there was a band going, and it was late, and I didn't think anybody would be in here this morning. So I'm really glad to see you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Look, I'm delighted to be here in Vancouver. This is absolutely one of the world's most beautiful and vibrant cities. I lived 3 winters in Winnipeg, and I loved it. I love Winnipeg. But every winter, we found a way to have lots of meetings here in Vancouver. And one of them was at a predecessor, I think, or previous version of this property. I don't know if it was this one or the waterfront one. And it was a sales meeting, a national Canadian sales meeting. And they decided they were going to have, we had some, tough Saskatchewan guys and ladies in the group, and some forestry people from British Columbia in the group. It was an agricultural business. And they decided they were going to have a big show to entertain the sales folks. And it was a lumberjack show, and it was going to be outdoors. And then it rained. So they decided to move the lumberjack show indoors. You're talking axes, chainsaws, climbing cleats. So we had a great financial year. By the time we paid for the repairs for everything, we ended up with a good year. But it was a lot of fun. So it's always exciting to be in the travel business, and obviously what makes it so much fun is that we help to fulfill people's dreams. And we bring together families, we help to recharge people's lives, to create romantic moments, and as Princess Cruises so aptly puts it, to help people come back new. Or as Holland America suggests, to savor the journey. Or as Carnival Cruise Line suggests, why not come as you are? So in other words, there is a cruise out there that's right for everyone. And you play a critical role in making sure we get people on the right cruise. And I want to thank you right off the bat for everything you do to build the cruise industry, to help our business, and to get people on the right cruise. Together, we create the memories of a lifetime. And that's a pretty neat job, but it's also a big responsibility. The 120,000 employees of the world's largest cruise company, Carnival Corporation, and our 10 world-leading cruise brands really, and that includes me in the 120,000, really take that responsibility very seriously. Over 11 million guests trust us with their hard-earned vacation dollars annually, and the 120,000 of us at Carnival, like you, know that we need to exceed those guests' expectations, not just because it's our livelihood, but because it is our passion too. And so I know I have a number of members of the Carnival Corporation team here. I know how passionate they are, and I like them to stand so you can recognize them if you don't know them already. So Carnival team, could you please? Yeah. Thank you, guys. Proud to work with you. And we know we have an obligation to you, too, as a valued trade partner, and that we're doing the right things to help you be as successful as possible in representing our products to your customers. And our goal at Carnival Corporation is to introduce more people to the great value and the great experience of a cruise vacation. So I'm here today to tell you that whenever possible, whenever I have a listening ear or a media microphone, I advocate for the greatest vacation value there is, and that's a cruise, preferably, of course, on one of our 10 amazing brands. Now, at Carnival, we see our competition as land-based vacations, not other cruise lines. This year, we've been lucky enough already to have launched 3 new ships, the Koningsdam, Aida Prima, and the Carnival Vista. I know you've heard about them. And later this year, we're going to launch Seabourn Encore. All of these are new flagships for those brands, and we're very proud of each one of them, and each one has been specifically engineered to exceed guest expectations. Now, even though we sail over 11 million people every year on our ships, there are millions more that have never cruised or never even considered cruising, and we call them new to cruise. Our challenge is to get them to consider cruising as a vacation option, and for many, to change their misperceptions about what cruising is. And that's where you are really so critical. As you know, a lot of people will dismiss the idea of a cruise vacation based on what they mistakenly believe to be true. They may worry about getting seasick, or that it's going to be too crowded, they don't want to stand in long buffet lines, or there's simply nothing to do. And maybe they just think that cruising is not for people like them. They're not cruise people. Well, every day in everything we do, we are sending the message that cruising is a great travel option. In fact, it's the greatest travel option for people like them. And it's why we're working hard to give you the tools and support to explain what a cruise is really like, to emote cruising without people having to actually already experience it, to debunk the myths, and to effectively differentiate the many types of cruise experiences that exist across our 10 cruise brands and the other cruise lines companies here. Now, just for the record, I know sometimes people get confused. Those are not in our 10 brands, the ones up on the screen here, but that's okay though. You know, they have to cruise people too, it's okay. So, but look, we have work to do. And how many of you remember or saw the Will Smith movie? Just a quick show of hands. Focus, anybody see that movie, Focus? Okay, a few people. It's a 2015 movie, so you might still be able to find it somewhere. Will plays the character of Nicky, and Nicky is a con man who, with his understudy, the beautiful Jess, gets into a bit of a faked bad situation. So it's a con man, so it makes it look like it's bad. Even Jess doesn't know. Jess thinks they're really in trouble when they lose a huge sum of money to a big-time gambler by the name of Say in a series of prop bets. Now, I know you guys are way too responsible to know what a prop bet is. So for those of you who aren't familiar, it's when you bet on almost anything, like which elevator will show up on your floor or how many people will fall asleep during the speech, okay? So Nicky and Jess, they go all out in this one last bet to get all their money back and more, because they're gonna make a nickel. And they're asking Say to pick the number of one football player at the Super Bowl, one football player on the field in front of them, and not tell them who he picked, and they're gonna guess the number. So he picks player number 55, just as Nick knew he would. Now, Nick actually told Jess, okay, to figure out what number he picked. And Jess has no idea what's going on at this point. So let's take a look on how Nick knew what number Say was going to pick before Say even knew what he was going to pick. Can you roll the clip?
How did you do that?
Liuan Say, legendary gambler. He bets on everything, anything, huge cash bets all the time. Once the Bellagio put Bill Gates out of the high roller suite because Liuan was flying in. He is the perfect Vic.
How did you know who he was gonna pick?
We told him to. We've been telling him all day. From the moment he left his hotel room, we've been priming him, programming his subconscious. He's been seeing the number 55 all day long. On the elevator, in the lobby, even the stick pin on the doormat. Not only that, we loaded his route from the hotel to the stadium. He looks out the window, primers are everywhere. Now he doesn't see it, but he does. There's no getting around it. He even sees Farhad.
That is genius.
Yeah, and it's not only what he sees, it's what he hears. The Mandarin word for 5 is woo. There are 124 woo-woos in sympathy for the devil. Now, he's not registering it, but it's all there. So when he picks up those binoculars, looks out on the field, sees a familiar face with the number 55 on his jersey, some little voice in the back of his mind says, that's it.
So you see, cruising is the number 55 of the travel business, okay? And your customer is Say. So when it comes time to really pick where you go on a vacation, we can help precondition our clients to think cruise. And it's our mission at Carnival to make sure the cruise conversation is out there all the time. It's why we ran a first ever Carnival family of brands Super Bowl ad in 2015. It's why we have ships constantly in the news and the trade press. It's in part why we introduced a new cruise concept, Fathom, with one round of news about Fathom sailing to the Dominican Republic, and then several rounds of news on Fathom's historic sailing to Cuba as the first U.S. cruise brand to sail into Havana Harbor in over 40 years. Thank you. Thank you. It's why we partner with celebrity chefs such as Thomas Keller at Seabourn, Curtis Stone at Princess, Guy Fieri and Carnival, and King cocktail mixologist Dale DeGroff on Holland America. Because cruising is the best vacation experience and value out there, and we need to tell our story in some way, every day, multiple times a day, so that when your customer shows up asking about a vacation, they are thinking 55. That is, they are thinking about exploring a cruise as a possibility, and that in turn will build demand. And this is where your role is so, so critical. You are absolutely the key to making the relationship between the cruise experience and your customer and our guests work. You are the matchmaker. You know your customer, you know their needs, and you can match them with the best cruise line, the best ship, and the best itinerary within that line based on the vacation experience they're looking for. It's essential that you make a good match because you want a long and successful relationship with your clients. That's what builds your business, and we want it with lots of cruisers in the future as those happy cruisers, your happy customers, bring along their parents, their kids, their friends, their coworkers, or anybody else they meet. Word of mouth is without a doubt the best advertising we have. So hearing from a friend or a family member, look, it's not what you think it is. You need to try it. Come with us next time, because that's another advantage to explain to those new to cruise. You can spend as much or as little time with your family and friends as you like. There's always something for everyone. There's a magic to traveling by cruise ship. There's a connection to the sea that's hard to explain to those who have never cruised. It's why for many cruisers their at-sea days are their favorites. And there's a magic to cruising slowly and quietly into a new port. There's nothing like the thrill of waking up and looking out your window to see the world has changed overnight. Flying into a crowded airport, hauling your luggage, waiting in lines for customs, it just doesn't compare to cruising leisurely into an ancient port like Barcelona or Istanbul or Sydney, Australia, seen it the way travelers have for hundreds or even thousands of years. And many of the amazing places in the world are best seen only by ship. Cruising through the beautiful Norwegian fjords, feeling the caress of the wind off the glaciers of Alaska and Antarctica, the total quiet isolation of the islands of the South Pacific, and the hot, dry wind off the ancient Greek islands, you become part of the experience, not just an observer, not just a tourist. There's an authenticity and understanding that is only achieved arriving by ship. So for example, last month, I had the incredible privilege of being one of 700 Americans to cruise on our Fathom brand into historic Havana Harbor on the first cruise ship to travel from the U.S. to Cuba in decades. We sailed past the Castillo del Morro, which has been guarding the Havana Harbor since the 1600s, and encountered just beyond it the monumental Christ of Havana sculpture that was dedicated just days before Fidel Castro and his revolutionaries marched into Havana. Then we docked in the heart of the old city. Before even touching land, we'd experienced 400 years of Cuban history. Cuba is an island nation with history at every turn, but where time seems to have stood still. It's like a time capsule from 1965. It's fascinating, and it's now very accessible. And I have never felt so welcomed in all my life as the welcome we received from the Cuban people. Our new brand, Fathom, is sailing every second Sunday directly from Miami, arriving in Havana on Monday morning. We circumnavigate the island with 3 unique stops in a trip that would be impossible to do in a week any other way. Cuba's a big island, but the roads are difficult and hotels can be hard to find. Seeing Cuba by ship is definitely the best way to go. And in Cuba, like in other parts of the world, we carry our infrastructure with us. Your clients that have concerns about the hotels and food or the challenges of venturing to an unknown place, cruising takes the worry, it takes the hassle out of traveling, you know this well, leaving you free to enjoy the experience. And as you know, we have 10 very different brand experiences, and we believe we have the right cruise experiences for almost anyone. But which brand may be different at different times in your customer's life for different circumstances. I meet people who tell me all the time, oh, I'm a Holland America person, and I just love Seabourn, and I would never travel any other line. And while I appreciate their loyalty to a certain line, whether it's Holland America or Seabourn, any one of our other lines, sometimes people who love Seabourn may find that booking a suite on a Carnival ship for a cruise with their grandkids might be the perfect way to make sure everyone can be together and have a shared experience, creating memories for life that will last a lifetime. They can enjoy the luxury of space and still have high-end dining choices that they have all the time on Seabourn, but enjoy seeing their grandkids play on the water slide and eat Guy Fieri burgers or ride the Sky Ride or take an IMAX 3D movie on the new Carnival Vista ship. These same grandparents can book cabins in our family harbor section with its own dedicated lounge just for families traveling with children. So people move in terms of circumstances and purpose and objectives. You guys know this, but it's important we get them on the right ship at the right time. And with their friends who are music lovers, they may want to try Holland America with the Music Walk, featuring live music from B.B. King's Blues Band, classical music at Lincoln Center Stage, or Dancing the Night Away with Billboard on board. And all of these are features on Holland America's new ship I mentioned earlier, Koningsdam. Now, see, there's been a lot of anticipation about this particular ship, its design, and some of the unique features that I've mentioned. Also, the Culinary Arts Center is a hands-on cooking school that changes to a farm-to-table style restaurant in the evening. I just returned from the Koningsdam and the Vista and the Prima naming ceremonies, inaugural sailings, and I can tell you these ships are all filled with new innovations and favorites for our guests. Then, of course, there's the elegant Cunard line, which celebrated its 175th anniversary last year, featuring the fabulous Queen Mary II. The QM2 is currently in dry dock. She's undergoing a remastering of the interiors, and we can't wait for her to come back in service later this month. The QM2 is the world's only true ocean liner, and crossing the Atlantic Ocean on the QM2 is on a lot of people's bucket list. And I share this just as, again, a way to differentiate and to help you place people on the right brand. So for those of your new to cruise clients that would love to do an ocean cruise but may be worried about getting seasick, the QM2 provides the most stable ride you could possibly hope for. And for people that can't fly for health reasons or are afraid to fly, traveling across Europe in the QM2 is a godsend. You arrive in Europe without any jet lag, having just spent a week luxuriating in the comfort and safety of this fantastic ship. And it's a very viable option for the start or the ending or both of a trip to Europe. And of course, you might have to look no further than our namesake brand, Carnival Cruise Line, voted America's most trusted cruise line. Carnival Cruise Line is America's cruise line. The line is proud to be debuting the Vista. It features 30 dining and bar venues and many of the other things I mentioned. It's a ship you absolutely want to experience. Carnival Line is home to the fun ships, home to the Great Vacation Guarantee, which we probably should rename to the Greatest Value Guarantee, and home to 24 diverse and spectacular ships. So, from our oldest line, Cunard, now to our newest line, Fathom, we truly have a cruise for everyone. And we know a lot of people these days are seeking meaning, they're seeking connection, and they're looking for ways to make a positive impact in our world. And then our new line, Fathom, combines people's love of travel and adventure with their desire to make a difference in this world, to do good. And we call it impact travel. Fathom guests cruise from Miami to the north side of the DR, the Dominican Republic, and they spend 3 days in our beautiful new cruise port there, Amber Cove. They can volunteer and do good in the developing world, but sleep and eat in the comfort and safety of our world, and they can take advantage of 40 different tour opportunities and just enjoy Dominican Republic as any tourist would. So for those guests who may never have considered a cruise before, who think they've seen and done it all in the Caribbean, who don't want to do the traditional cruise excursions, Fathom offers them a completely different experience. And we think it can open up a whole new market of potential cruises for you, and it appeals to multi-generational families, or community service groups, or church groups, and others in the group that just may want to hang out around the pool. So it's a new and unique product. We find the concept takes a bit of explaining, and visiting the fathom.org website really helps people understand it. So, to the people that it appeals to, you'll see their eyes light up, and on a recent cruise, half the guests on board rebooked. And now that's easy repeat business for you. So our goal day in and day out is to exceed our guests' expectations. Our goal is also to exceed yours. We have a bright future together selling cruise vacations. And even though new and larger ships are always showing up on the ocean, the reality is that the global capacity for the cruise industry can only grow at a relatively slow pace. It's due to shipbuilding and other constraints. What can grow significantly is demand. More and more people, think 55, deciding they want to experience their first cruise vacation. And by growing demand, we grow yield, and that grows commissions earned and repeat business for you. Add to the equation the exploding demand in China of outbound travelers, with over 1 million cruising today, and that just further increases the global demand of people wanting to cruise in the world on a limited number of cruise ships in the world. So working to grow demand and working to exceed our guests' expectations, your customers' expectations, is what we are up to every day at the Carnival Corporation. We believe this is the best way to continue to ensure a great future for all of us. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for sailing with us. I especially want to thank you for having your customers sail with us, and thanks for being the great partners that you are, and we absolutely couldn't do it without you. I want to thank CLIA for being a great representative and advocate for our incredible and amazing industry, and for inviting me here to be with you today. I look forward to seeing you and your clients very soon on one of our more than 55 ships. Okay, so we really have 102 ships, but you get the message. Thank you all sincerely. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.